that college football playoff. But also, yesterday evening, I received this heads up. Texas is from Garrett Ross, who sent this to me. Texas moving towards letting high school student athletes cash in on endorsement deals. According to the executive director of the Texas High School Coaches Association, that's Joe Martin, we will have Lee Wigington, who's now the new head coach at Allen, the largest school in Texas, and he is also the president of the Texas High School Football Coaches Association, join us today at 3:45, and we'll bring that up to him. That was from ABC News out of Houston. I think that's KTRK. Is that just a matter of time?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, look, if other states are doing it, look at, already one player left because of it, and Quinn Ewers, I mean, he didn't go play high school ball in Ohio, but he enrolled early and left. And, not that anybody is going to cry too many tears for where from South Lake Carroll.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, nobody's really going to cry too many tears if they lose a guy every now and again because they're such a dynasty, but other coaches don't want to lose their quarterback or their wide receiver or something to early enrollment if they can avoid it. Or if these guys can make money, they can let them make money.
Are they going to make enough money, though, to compete with that kind of money they can make with NIL at a college or a university?
I mean, here's the deal. South Lake Carroll's not the one that would lose a quarterback. Mm-hmm. It's going to be South Lake Carroll taking another quarterback. Yeah. Who's going to out – first of all, this whole thing I just think is kind of silly. Good for these high school kids if they can make money, but what are we really talking about? We're talking about this is only going to lead to more tampering and more colleges using money to recruit players on an even deeper level, maybe even in some cases kind of old school, sending them to the schools of their choice, their high school pipelines. I don't see how this is that great of an idea. Outside of Papa's Burger Shack giving the star wide receiver $100 to do the local TV commercial that 100 people are going to see. Good for them if they can get it. Again, we're not anti-money for athletes at all, but this to me isn't, oh wow, this presents open doors and new opportunities for high school athletes like it is for college athletes. This is to me just going to lead to the schools who have money or have backers just basically plucking kids from where they grew up and the communities they're actually from to come play for their super team in high school. Because there's already certain schools that we see that are just magically picking up incredible transfers in high school. Just magically the mom gets a job at the dynasty school versus, the school that wasn't the dynasty that he was at before, or even the two schools before in some cases. So I don't know, man. I think this is getting kind of ridiculous. Again, it's not anti-athlete, anti-making money, but what kind of money are we really talking about? Is that going to come from the local business? Why would they spend money for the local high school athlete? The car commercial, okay, but really, in the grand scheme of things, what difference is that making? How many people are really going to be swayed by a high school athlete outside of the 10 to 15 that we're probably talking about? Because dude on midway wide receiver is not making big NIL money from anybody. Nobody on midway probably is unless they're a 5-star recruit at some point at quarterback who's got offers from all over the country. And then odds are with something like this that he doesn't even finish his career at midway. He finishes it at Allen or South Lake Carroll or Highland Park or schools like that. So I don't know, man. This is kind of getting real weird to me where we're going down to the high school level with this. But hey, if you can make money off your name, image, likeness, I get it. TikTok stars, I get the comparisons and all of that. And yes, body to body, that's an exact comparison, but we're talking about a sport. We're talking about a team. We're talking about that. That's not the same as an individual TikTok star, making money that way. But you can't say they don't deserve to. It's their name, image, likeness. But I just see this as more of this is going to be really dirty recruiting and those types of things versus this is great for the student athlete.
And Connolly has a running back, or had one, Trey Wisner, who's highly rated. He's committed to Texas. Everyone wanted him. All of a sudden, he's now at DeSoto, which is a school that's loaded with great talent.
A top 5 program in the state.
And among the best in the country. And now he's at DeSoto. Now, he actually started his career, high school or late junior high, was in Dallas, moved to Mejia, went from Mejia to Connolly, from Connolly now to DeSoto. His mother lost her job. There's a couple of other things involved. There's always that option. But to me, that's the start. And it's not the first time, because he could end up back in Waco if, in fact, things don't work out at DeSoto. But it has been going on, but now you wonder if it does magnify.
Well, and it does. The more I think about it, sound like they're trying to preempt getting sued or
Yeah, I mean,
a
that's-
lawsuit because, again, if college athletes can make money in the eyes of the law, like all this other stuff about, a high school and UIL recruit, like that's up to the state will be, well, that's up to the UIL to make rules to make sure that, nobody transfers from Midway to Allen. But ultimately, again, all those stuff will get challenged. This sounds to me like, well, I mean, if these guys can do it, what's the difference if they can do it a couple years earlier?
Man, let's get NIL for elementary kids. Screw it.
In the eyes of the law, and that's
Now,
what they're trying to avoid.
It is going to be in the legislature, but it won't be looked at apparently or voted on until possibly January. Our guest at 345, Lee Wigginton, again, he would know how the kind of coach's pulse of this will be. So it is just something to bring up. If I wouldn't have brought it up, I'm not doing my job with that at all.
It's one thing when we talk about college coaches having to re-recruit their rosters, months after signing a guy, which I think is ridiculous. And that's why if it takes collective bargaining, I'm for that. I'm just for whatever, ensures that the players and schools are on the same page and there's not all this hopping around. That's all I want to see. I hope plenty of guys make millions of dollars, even though we know it's really a select few. But we know there's many that can make tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands, and that's great. But we're talking about high school kids now, and I'm sure that can better a lot of families, better a lot of situations. But ultimately, we're talking about a very select group of guys that would be making any type of NIL high school money. And who are those guys? There might be the soccer player at a school in California who's 17 and has got a bunch of TikTok followers and Instagram followers, and maybe, Gatorade wants her to do something for a few thousand a year, or the local car dealership or whatever. Like, I'm cool with all that. Like, that's all good. I don't want to prevent anybody from making money, but I just think this has got disaster written all over it, in my opinion, as far as, people hopping from community to community and it not being about, again, going back to, just the where you grew up and representing your school. Like, that used to be such a simple thing, but like money just takes over everything, I guess. And so, yeah, why not? But I think this is going to lead to the same schools, that benefit in college, being the same schools at the high school level that probably benefit as well. Your Allens and your South Lake Carrolls and those types. But I don't know what kind of real money there is out there, and I think the ones that would be making real money would be pretty much the same ones that are making money as high school recruits right now that are getting their NIL deals to sign with Tennessee or A&M or whoever you want to mention there. So, I mean, I'll chew on this. We just learned about this, a few hours ago, yesterday, maybe late evening. But immediately my thought was like, wow, there's going to be tampering and whatnot all over the place in the high school ranks if that's the case. And I just think that sucks, man, because that's not what it's supposed to be about.
What you say and what we have said, and I think even those who want anyone to make whatever money their value is, but it does get lost in the shuffle about what it means to be at a school, go through the ups and downs. And we use this as an example because of Baylor, my God, had a couple of different ups and downs along the way. And then those guys had 12-2, Sugar Bowl, Big 12, and a lot of them getting drafted. It all depends. What value is that to somebody? Maybe not immediately, but possibly down the road. And you wonder, and when you say that, yeah, but everyone should have a right to make money. All right, well, it's something to at least, and Craig, you pounded on that quite a bit, something to think about.
You mean to tell me that if I was doing a midway post game, all of a sudden, there's a scenario, and this is so unlikely, so I understand this. You don't not do something because of the most extreme example. But in theory, and there's, again, just now really chewing on this, I'd have to pay a kid to do a post-game interview?
Well, no.
A high school kid?
No, I agree.
Like, get the F out of here. I'm not doing that. I would refuse to do that. Like, give me a break. At some point, enough is enough. So, you know what? Make your money from the car dealership or whatever. That's great. But I think this just benefits the same people it's already benefiting and not the majority. And so for that minority, that's great. Again, anything, that can help people just on a personal level, and money is one of those things that can do that. So if it gets somebody out of a bad situation because – again, the TV store in town wants to pay them, then great. But I just don't really see what that market is outside of just those high-profile recruits that colleges are chasing, and it's somehow some collective, it just magically appears and gets involved with it. I just think what's next? Middle school? I don't know. Maybe I'm just so out of touch with this. I'm all for it on the college level, but this seems a bit ridiculous to me.
All right, well, it's something Lee Wigginton will ask him about at 3:45. Paul sent me an article yesterday from